which means it's time for an update.
So after a long year last year and what looked like us finally finishing in Italy here a couple days ago, which is not actually true, we finished in November, we were trying to decide what we're going to do next. And I wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail.
The Appalachian Trail is an approximately 2,200 mile long distance trail that runs from Georgia to Maine up the east coast of the U.S.
But we'll see. Corona has decided to put a damper on that. And what do you think?
Who the hell knows is what I think. So our original plan for this year, 2020, was to hike the Appalachian Trail starting in April. We had a family wedding to go to around the end of April. That has since gotten canceled because of the current pandemic that's happening right now. And so our original plan was to go to that wedding, which was in Florida, and then have Justin's parents drive us to the start of the trail at Springer Mountain in Georgia, and then we were going to hike from Georgia to Maine over approximately 5 months is what we were thinking it would take us.
4 to 5 months.
Yeah. But yeah, like Justin said, the coronavirus has really just put a damper on not just our plans, but really everyone's plans for this year. So now there's no wedding. We're not going down to Florida, and we will not be starting the trail on April 21st, which was our intended start date.
Yeah, so who knows what's going to happen. At the current time, I guess we got national parks are closed.
State parks are closed,
Some state parks are closed. The ones
Yeah.
up north are closed where all the pandemic crap's happening. The ATC, the Appalachian Trail Conference? It's not conference, it's something
Conservancy,
like that.
I think it is.
Conservancy
I don't know.
has recommended that people not hike the trail. They don't have any authority to tell you you can't, but they've recommended not to.
So actually a few days ago I saw on Instagram they put out something that they're somehow actually trying to get the entire trail to be closed.
Yeah, it can't be done.
Yeah.
You can't close it. It's public land. It's like the National Park Service said they're closing it, but they don't have authority over it either. The U.S. Forest Service is the one that actually manages the trail, has the authority to close it. But you have to have manpower to close these things. But regardless, we're not going right now. Virginia's got a statewide stay-at-home until June 15th, so we can't go into Virginia until then anyways. So we'll see. Hopefully this will be over mid-year and we can hike some of it. Hike for 3 or 4 months this year.
Yeah, so at this point we're crossing our fingers that possibly by June we'll be able to start hiking. And we've got 2 options at this point. It looks like if we don't get to start hiking until June or July, we're definitely not going to be able to go northbound because it's going to be way too cold by the time we get to Maine. And I think they close Baxter State Park.
Yeah, Maine's
sometime
closed.
in October. So that option's out, but we have 2 other options. We can either hike southbound, so start in Maine and hike down to Georgia, or we can do what they call a flip-flop, which the one that I'm thinking of doing is starting at the halfway point around Harper's Ferry, maybe hiking north to Katahdin in Maine, and then driving back to Harper's Ferry and then hiking south. So we could like hike north into the summer and then hike south into the fall. But we'll see if any of that gets to happen.
Yeah, we'll see. Or third option is we may not hike all of it this year. We may just do a section, long section. Hike as much as we want to.
Yeah. So, yeah, we don't really have much control over the situation right now. It's funny, though, because everybody that we've talked to has kind of been surprised that we're not still planning on starting the trail in April. They're like, I feel like that'd be the perfect place for you guys to be right now with the coronavirus and everything. And I'm like, well...
It pretty much is.
But not really.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, just because so much of the parks that the trail goes through are closed. so that just is a huge obstacle in and of itself. But also because, so there's kind of three main things that they're concerned about when it comes to thru hikers. One is everybody tends to sleep in the shelters on the trail at the same campsites. So there's a large congregation of people in one spot.
Large transient population.
Right. Number two is, as we have discovered, it's quite hard, most of the times impossible, to keep your social distance, as they call it, when you're hiking the trail, because most of the Appalachian Trail, I mean, it is a footpath only, and most of it is literally only as wide as your 2 feet. So if you're trying to pass somebody, whether it's going in the opposite direction or the same direction, I mean, you really can't step 6 feet away a lot of times.
Yeah, cycling's a much better social distancing activity.
Absolutely. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing that they're concerned about when it comes to thru hikers is going into all these little tiny trail towns that the trail goes through. And the fact that even if you're not sick, because we know now that you can spread the virus while you're asymptomatic. So if you feel fine, but you have the virus and you don't know it, and you go into one of these little trail towns where they don't have a hospital, they don't really have much in the way of a healthcare system, and you infect people in that town, they're pretty much shit out of luck. So that's the other thing that they're concerned about. And then just logistically speaking, it's becoming a nightmare to do it right now. With all the parks that are closed, I think in like the whole northern section, I think has closed all the campsites on the AT.
Logistically speaking, it's becoming a lot more like our tour last year. So to us, it really doesn't matter. It's not that hard. It's not that different. It's not hardly different at all compared to what we're used to. It's to these people that have never done anything like this that it's really difficult.
Right. But we were honestly looking forward to it being easy to camp places. And I mean,
what I was really looking forward to was the ease of camping, which it's still easy to camp. There's camping everywhere. You can camp anywhere, pretty much anywhere on the AT, except in some parks. And there's no routing. There's never any routing. Follow the white blaze, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking forward to.
Yeah, but, I mean, we're just trying to do the right thing, and they're basically have told all thru hikers to get off the trail. So we're just kind of waiting, and like I said before, just crossing our fingers that we can still hike at least some of it this year.
Yeah, and option number 4 or 5, I don't know what we're on. Wait till next year and do it.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll be 3 years of being retired for me instead of 2. Oh well. Such is life. Such is the burdens of an early retirement.
Yeah. So my understanding was, going back to the trail and them urging people to get off the trail, they're not just urging thru hikers, they're urging everyone to get off the trail, because I don't know how it is in your area, but for us here in the US, we're still allowed to go outside and exercise. It's like one of the few things that people can still do on this stay-at-home lockdown that we're all in. And so what's everybody doing? They're going out into the woods because everybody thinks that's the best place to be. But now the problem is all the trail systems are getting super overrun, and they've pulled back their volunteers. So they've told all their volunteers, because the AT is a volunteer-maintained trail, to not go out and do any maintenance work, because they're not essential workers, so they're supposed to stay at home, right? So what they're not doing is they're not maintaining the trail right now, so or any of the trail heads, I guess. So like public restrooms, trash cans, and I assume like if trees fall on the trail, like they're not doing any of that kind of cleanup right now. So if you have a huge influx of people on the trail like there is right now and zero maintenance, it's just a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
So they're just blanketing everybody, just saying, please stay off the Appalachian Trail until all this is over and everybody can go back to work. So that's what we're doing, unfortunately. So for now, we are staying at Justin's parents' house.
Yay!
That's where all of our stuff is. We actually bought a shipping container when we moved back from
We got a
China.
40-foot high-cube shipping container that has all our stuff in it.
And we put it in their backyard. So all of our stuff is here, which is part of the reason why we are here. We've been here ever since we got back in November. We are pretty much stuck here for the foreseeable future. Which is not a bad thing, but...
Till the corona is over.
Yeah.
Oh well, I guess I'll have to ride bikes. That's good.
So, yeah, in the meantime, we've been riding a lot of bikes. Staying fit, staying active, and a lot of waiting and seeing. So, yeah. Stay home, guys. It's the right thing to do right now. We'll be back out adventuring as soon as humanly possible.
But you can adventure by yourself.
You can adventure by yourself, and you can adventure in your own backyard. Take it as a challenge.